you start questioning everything you did. Did I waste all of this time? Like, what was I doing? And you can start to spiral into like a lot of sadness. And that's really what happened with me is I looked around at my life and I was like, I'm doing the same thing I did when I was 15. So I just felt really like lost. Hey Laura.
Awesome.
How you doing?
So good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
What'd you get me this morning?
So we're doing coffee ice cream with some chocolate shavings and almonds in it, just to give you a little texture. Figure it's the morning, you gotta start with some coffee.
It was delicious.
Good?
It's so good.
Awesome.
So Dylan, tell me your story. You have millions of views from making ice cream. How did that start?
So I started off making ice cream when I was 15. One of my friends was managing an ice cream shop and he needed someone to become his cake decorator because he had just got a promotion. So he thought of me, he was like, you grew up, you're an artistic kid. I could definitely teach you how to decorate an ice cream cake. So he brings me in, teaches me, I loved the job to the point where when I considered colleges, the first thing I did is I looked up to see if there's any ice cream shops in the area because I was gonna apply for a job before I looked at a college. Because I loved working with ice cream so much. I never thought it would turn into something like this, but I just continued with it. And then during the lockdowns, during COVID, after college, I wasn't doing super well. I was pretty sad, to be honest. I felt really directionless. And one of my friends, she was like, hey, I wanna become online famous, I wanna become a content creator. So my goal was actually help her, and then somehow it turned into all of this.
So take me back to that sadness that you talked about. How did you know that that was gonna be something that was gonna push you or motivate you, or did you know at that time?
So this sadness, I didn't know what to do with it. It honestly felt very overwhelming. And so I think I was really just looking for anything I could find to like run from the sadness. But the sadness was really brought on by me being uncomfortable with where I was at, which I didn't even really know like that's what it was at the time. I only know that looking back on it now. You go throughout school, so elementary school, high school, like you have these dreams of what college would be like, and then you finally get there and you're probably a little disappointed. You're like, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be, but we'll make the best of it, you know? Who knows?
Yeah.
You dedicate 4 years to it and you're like, oh, when I get this diploma, it's my golden ticket. Life is gonna be so easy after this. I'm gonna have everything figured out. You get the diploma, and a week goes by, you're like, this is amazing, I graduated. And then another week goes by, you're like, this is great. And then 2 months go by and you're like, okay, my life isn't fixed. This diploma didn't change anything. I'm the same person I was before, but now I don't know what to do with my day because no one's here telling me what to do. I can't find a job. It just kind of like starts to add of like, you start questioning everything you did. Did I waste all of this time? Like, what was I doing? And you can start to spiral into like a lot of sadness. And that's really what happened with me is I looked around at my life and I was like, I'm doing the same thing I did when I was 15. And this is almost 10 years later at this point. So I just felt really like lost and there's so much stress. And so when I found these videos, it's like, oh, this is something for me to do. I feel productive. I feel like this is something that's like worthy of my time and my life. And so I just put everything into it, not expecting it would turn into anything like this. It was just something for me to finally do and feel productive.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we talk about sadness as if it's always a bad thing, but it sounds like for you, there is one type of sadness maybe where it really is something that you might be worried about for yourself, and then there's this other type of sadness that is telling you something meaningful.
Yeah, and the meaningful thing to me that, like I said, I didn't know at the time, but looking back, I've learned is that my body, I was sad, my body was telling me that like, you're not comfortable, you don't like where you're at. So you need to make a change. I learned by starting the videos, but really it was just that I needed to change my environment. I needed to do something that would make me feel like I'm fulfilled and that my time is being spent in a productive way. And a lot of that was just letting go of what other people, expectations they'd put on me, and just accepting that like, this is my life. If I want to work at an ice cream shop for the rest of my life, there's nothing wrong with that. And accepting that helped get rid of a lot of the sadness, because I realized that I was putting other people's expectations on me, and it was making me think less of myself. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's the difference between sadness and depression?
Sometimes it's hard to tell. To me, sadness is something where either you've experienced something that you need to process, something really difficult in your life that you need to give yourself the emotional space to process, or sometimes sadness can indicate that there's something going on that you are struggling with, that you maybe need to make a decision about. There's something that you really are stuck on. It's a really normal human emotion to be sad, and that indicates something. And then depression is when that sadness goes so far that you're really kind of unable to take care of yourself. You know, maybe you can't get out of bed, you're not eating, you're having trouble sleeping, or you're sleeping all day. You're not really interested in doing the things that used to make you happy. Like, I would be worried. You love ice cream and you love how it helps you to be there for other people and to bring joy to other people. And if you felt like you couldn't get up and do this kind of work, that it wasn't making you feel happy anymore, that's what, you know, depression is.
Yeah.
And so have you yourself, or have you had friends who you felt like were really in a depression, and what did that look like and how was it different?
Yeah, I think it is interesting that it does manifest differently for each person. And I think the older I get, the more that I've kind of realized that a lot of people go through it and a lot of people don't talk about it, and those signs might look different for different people. It might be that a friend reaches out to you more. It might be that a friend reaches out to you less. And so really it's just getting to know people and being open and having conversations so that you can be there for each other. And that's one of the biggest things I learned, is just learning to talk about it more with more people, because we all can be so much more helpful to each other when we communicate.
Yeah, who is it that you've talked to?
Honestly, all my friends. I try to be as open, as honest as with my struggles and my own journey of whatever that looks like. And when you start to open up, you'll notice that other people begin to be comfortable as well. And they learn from you, and they learn how they're different, and it creates good conversations and helpful. You can be helpful to each other, be better friends for one another. The first way that I'll know when I'm starting to experience depression is I just stop eating, like almost completely. And I don't really do much besides lay in bed. And I kind of like deny needs, and I'll almost like get stuck in this cycle of like confusion of like so many choices, and then I just don't do anything, and I kind of just get like stuck. And that's probably what led to 14 hours on my phone. It was one of those seasons of that. It's odd because there were times where the only thing that could kind of like help me was just to go to work. And I used to say, like, when I'd walk through the doorway, I would just take all those emotions, pretend they're not there, and then make ice cream, make other people happy, and then I'd go home and clock back into laying in bed and just withering away. The first sign I know when it's not just sadness for me is that I let go of my needs, my necessities.
Have you ever had a time when you've had a hard time reaching out, when you were feeling really down and you didn't know how to reach out?
I think it happens a lot where I have a hard time reaching out, and I really rely on other people to notice that I'm not doing well. But I think over time, once you start to reach out in little ways to other people, you realize like that relief is so nice. And so you'll eventually over time get used to fighting that feeling of wanting to pull away from people. Like, this is better for me. I should just reach out. I should do the little thing. And it doesn't have to be deep. You don't have to explain all your feelings away. You can just say, hey, I need someone to be here right now. Hey, can you bring me a meal? I'm not eating, or something like that. Or even just being comfortable to even ask yourself for help, where it's like, hey, I don't want to eat right now, so I'm just gonna go on my phone and I'm gonna order delivery, because that takes a lot of the steps away. I don't want to make the decision of what I want to eat, but I know that I usually like to eat this, so I'm just gonna at least try. And I found that like the little things like that, just to take away these barriers, are super helpful to get out of these sadness.
Is there anything that anyone in your life has said or done in a particular way that you think has been really helpful to you when you're feeling sad?
I think just the communicating. There's been people that have, in some of my saddest moments, just really reached in and just pulled me like up, even just the littlest bit, but just through kind words. And so you just never know like how impactful like little things that you could do for other people might be. Because some people might not share where they are in their sadness with you, but you even just text them and saying, hey, I'm thinking about you today, I hope you have a great day. That could mean so much more to somebody than you ever could think or hope or imagine.
It's amazing that you get to do this for other people.
Yes, yeah. That was one of the things I used to say all the time, is that one of the best parts about ice cream is that you're always there to celebrate things with people. And so whether it's an ice cream cake, that's usually for like a birthday or a wedding or like some type of an anniversary, a celebration. But every time someone comes through the line and I get to serve them ice cream, I always ask, like, how's your day going? And I still remember the one day when a customer said, I'm having a terrible day. And I was like, I have no idea what to say to this person.
What did you say?
And I ended up just saying, you know, I can't fix all your problems, but I'm glad I can give you ice cream, and hopefully this makes it just a little bit better. And I just think about that all the time. Like, ice cream, no matter what mood you're in, is always just a nice pick-me-up. It's good for the times when you're sad, and it's good for the days when you want to celebrate.
So what kind of advice would you give to a young person who's feeling sad?
Kind of evaluate where they're at and to really see like what level of help they think they need. I would say like one of the first things you could do is just talk to someone. That could be a close friend, or if it's something that you feel like is too much for a close friend, there's tons of online resources or hotlines that they could call, and they could get better help from somebody that's like a little bit more qualified than maybe a friend.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing you should do is definitely just talk to someone. It takes a lot of the weight off your shoulders when you know you're not alone in this thing that you're going through.
And when you say evaluate sort of where you're at or your level of sadness, what are you thinking behind that?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, how heavy does that weight feel on your shoulders? Does it feel like if a friend came to me with this heavy weight, would we be able to carry it together? Or do you think it's gonna drag us both down? Or do you think this is something that we'd be able to carry? And so really, I think it's just whatever that weight feels like to you.
When you realized that you were feeling really down and maybe it was something that you might not be able to deal with on your own or with your friends,
Yeah.
did you reach out for professional help?
Yeah, so it actually took me a long time because I was like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. And so I would talk with friends, and I would really try, and it honestly almost made it worse because I was trying so much and nothing felt like it was a breakthrough moment for me. And so it was really on a really rough day when I was like, I need help from someone else. I can't bear this weight alone. And it was that day that I got help, and it even took months after being in therapy before I was even able to take that weight and share it with my therapist, because it was just so much that I had a hard time doing that. But I was just so proud of myself that I was able to accept that I needed help from somebody else. It's been a few years now, and I've grown so much, and the weight feels almost like it's non-existent at this point. And so I'm super thankful that I reached out and got help.
That's great.
One of the things for me that I learned so much through my journey with sadness and depression is that, like you're saying, there's something there that's like holding you back almost from experiencing your normal things. And for me, it was nice because once I finally acknowledged what that thing was, and I began to work with my therapist to address that, and it really made the depression and the sadness just fade away, because there was something wrong. My body was trying to tell me, hey, there's something wrong in your life. You need to address that thing. And once I did, everything fell into place, and I was able to be happy again and experience life the way that I wanted to.
That makes a lot of sense. So for you, it sounded like that was a sadness. There was something missing or something that you weren't doing that you felt like compelled to do, whatever it was.
Yeah, that over time eventually led into those seasons when I wouldn't eat and I wouldn't take care of my just basic necessities. Yeah, I would just kind of just wither away in my bed.
Yeah, and that's when you knew that you really needed help.
Yeah, because I couldn't bear it on my own anymore.
I think my ice cream melted. Can we make another one?
Yeah, it's looking a little sad. Let's make another one.
It is looking a little sad. Keep watching and subscribe to our channel. Should we go make some ice cream?
Let's make some ice cream.